Okay, well, welcome to the Matrix Vault. And in this video, we're going to demonstrate exactly what the application can do. At this point, this view of the application is assuming that you've already activated the application and now you're ready to use it. So this is where we will just demonstrate the actual functionality of the application. These are the default login information. When you log in the first time and activate, it pre-fills these two fields with admin and I-love-records exclamation mark as the password. I'm leaving mine as a default, but you can change these if you need to lock down your version. That's fine. If it's just you that uses it or your family, you may want to just leave it as a default. It doesn't matter. It's up to you. So to change it, though, you would go to the settings page. So we'll start there and we'll um, look at that, but we won't look at the entire page. So if I click login, it'll take me to the default display page or view records page. We're going to go to settings, and here you can see where you can set the admin and the password. So you can set the admin and password to whatever you want, and then if you log out, that would be the username and password required to get back in. So if you do change it, make sure you remember it. Um, like I said, for my own collection, I don't even worry about it. I just leave it this way. But I don't have to worry about anybody using my PC, right? So anyway, you log in, it takes you to this page, which is the view records. Now, there's no records in this database at all. Okay, there's one default record, which you're seeing here at the bottom. And basically, this is just a placeholder to give you a little bit of information about what's going on here. But we're going to go over it right now. The first thing we're going to look at is the drop-down box. And you'll notice that right now the application supports albums and 45s only. I will be updating the app and adding 78s and possibly 78s and cassettes and anything else that users may require for their collection. Reel-to-reel tapes. I mean, we could add some other functions here, but for right now, since this is the first release of the application, albums and 45s is the standard. If you only collect albums in 78s, well, you can use the 45s as though it was 78s temporarily. Um, but, it's not designed for that, but it could be used for that. So they give you an idea. Or if you can collect 45s and cassettes, you could think of them that way. But this is the default for the first version of the app. Now, before we get into this, let me show you some of the things in support, just so you'll have this in your mind as we go through. The first thing is to contact support, which is me. This is my website, interdevdesigns.com, and you can send an email support request here if you find any bugs. I've thoroughly tested it, but I miss things. I'm human. So if you find any bugs, you can report them. If it's something we need to recreate and we're having trouble, we may contact you to help, not only help you, but to get information on how to fix it so we can deal with it going forward in another update. If it's something that's just annoyance, you don't like the way it's laid out or something, we want that feedback. Okay, don't misunderstand me. We do want that feedback, but we may not be able to get back to you about all the details or get back to you about it. We may just fix it and roll it out in the next um, revision of the app. This takes you back to the dashboard, which is the view records. Okay. The next thing under support is check for updates. And when you click this, you'll see that currently the latest version is 1.01. The installed version, or this version, is 1.01. So the software is up to date. If the software was not up to date, there would be a link or a button so that you could just click it, go, get the update, install it, and the app would be updated with the newest features. For the first year that you own the app, and you own this for a lifetime, but for the first year that you own it, if there are any updates, they don't cost anything, they're free. After the first year from the date you purchased the app, which was that modest $15 charge, less than half the price of an album, um, from that point on, after a year, there may be a small charge, $5, $10, just to basically to tip me for creating and maintaining the application, right? And we will continually update as as users request different features and as bugs or issues are identified. The last section is the About page, which just tells you about the matrix, Vault itself. And as you can see, it's specialized cataloging application designed for vinyl records. Um, the thing about it is it's basically totally offline. So you own your database, you own your records, you should own your collection, right? You should own your database. And so this removes the need or the obligation of using the cloud like Discogs or any other cloud application that charges you monthly or that owns your database and owns your collection. Um, if, God forbid, they go out of business, there goes your whole entire collection if it's online on their servers. Um, if you're on some other server that charges a fee, you may be paying a monthly fee. This frees you from all of that. It's on your PC, it's your application. Now, this application currently only runs on Windows desktop. It'll run on a laptop, be a little congested, but it will run. We will eventually reorganize the layout so that it'll fit on a smartphone, but ideally, you want a desktop. It just makes it so much easier to navigate the app, and you have more control. If we put it on a phone, which we will do eventually, features are always chopped off. I mean, that's just the nature of the beast. I don't care what app you use, you don't get all the features you get on their basic website on on the desktop. And that's because there's limitations on what a developer can do on smartphones and Android and iPhones. So just bear that in mind. But this app was created by me. I have been programming since 1976. I started programming in Fortran 4 on mainframe computers, and I've been programming all the way up till now. I've switched to Windows when Windows 3.1 came out. So you get an idea. I've been programming DOS prior to that, and then Microsoft DOS, and then Visual Basic, and then right up to right now I program some in assembly language, which is right down at machine coding. So it's built by someone who knows and has the experience to actually write the code and make the changes and make them work. Most important to you, right? And the other thing is it's built by a collector for collectors. So the idea of the app is to meet the needs of collectors. And one of the main needs of a collector is to own their database, to own their collection. So that's the goal. Okay, with all that said, just to give you an update on why the app was created and how it's to be used, we're going to look at the functionality. So we go back to records. Now you'll see that there's some links in this area here. The first one takes you to a pop-up window that tells you everything that's on this row. Okay, so in a smartphone view, this is more what you would get, and you wouldn't have the ability for the table, right? So those are the kind of limitations I'm talking about. You can edit the full record by going to clicking this button or by going to down here to edit, right, on the taskbar. So the task, you can edit here, you can click here and view, and then you can click here and edit. This button and this button under task takes you to the same place, the place to edit your records. Okay, so that's why it's here. It says the artist is click here to edit or click edit down there on the end of the taskbar. That's why this default is here. Just a reminder that these are ways to get to edit the record. There's, of course, there's only one record, so the first and previous and last are not working. I will show you a glimpse of my database, which would, be hundreds of listings, and I'll show you how the buttons work when we get to that. But it's pretty self-explanatory, right? You go to next, 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 previous, previous, first, last. I mean, it's common sense. Okay, if some of the fields are missing, there will be buttons where you can add it. For instance, this one is VT123. So I'm going to copy that. If I go to edit and I delete the catalog number and I click the enter key on the keyboard, or I scroll down and I click update record, either one works. Now when I go back to the view, you see there's an add button. This makes it easier than having to do this entire edit form every time. You may need to do that so the functionality's there, but you may just need to add the catalog number. So you click add, it pops up a box. You right click and choose paste, because I copied it. So I can right click and choose paste, or you could type it in and then update. The button goes away, the catalog number shows. That happens for catalog, year, I believe label, yes. And then these would be add and add if they weren't there. So if we go and get rid of, let's say we'll get rid of the matrix, which is all of this. And you know what that is, right? That's the numbers that are encoded on the wax, the out wax of the record as near the label. So you can enter that there. But if I delete it, and I copied it while I deleted it, and now I'm just going to hit enter. You'll notice it says the record was updated successfully, so I didn't have to go down and click the button, just hit the enter key, it automatically updates. We come back here, now notice it says add for the matrix. So on the matrix, when I click add, I can paste it back in and update, and it goes back to show. So comment, same thing. You can do the same thing here, but this is an example. This is what I use. You can use whatever you want. You notice this is a big text box. It'll literally take paragraphs, okay? But when I'm doing mine, I don't need a lot of information about the comments. You might want to put some information in here beyond what I did, but this is just to give you an example. Like in this case, I'm saying it's a gatefold. It was pressed by Columbia Pressing, Terre Haute. And then, I could put in here, the cover has a stain on the back. Somebody signed their name on the label. You could put anything you want, right? So again, it's designed for collectors. So there's no restriction imposed on you. You are the collector. You know what you want to say. And so that's where you would say it. And that's what the comments are, the task. So we looked at each of these. Let's go back up here and start at the top. We already talked about record type. Now we're going to look at search. To do a search, in this case, it's kind of hard because there's only one record, but I can show you that it works anyway. Let's say we were searching for the word vault in the label. Maybe we're searching for A&M, right? For all of our A&M records, whatever. So if I'm searching for vault in the label, I'm putting it here, then I'm going to select label. And we'll get back to this hide bit in a minute. But I'm going to select label because I'm looking for vault only in the label. The default search is artist and title. But you can search any of these. So you can search any field. But at this point, we're looking at label as an example. Now, if I say apply filter, it's going to do the search and show you the exact same one because vault's right there. So, and there's no other records, so there's no distinction. But what if I change this to X23 and I click apply filter? Notice there's no records with X23 on the label because there's only one. Now, if I go back to vault, and click apply, we're right back to that one. And that's the same for all of the fields. So you can search your database any way you want. You can sort your database any way you want. You notice on artists it's got an up arrow. That means it's currently sorted A to Z. You could click this again and you get a down arrow. So it's sorted Z to A. Okay. So, and all the columns sort, they all sort. So you can sort by any column. Um, if you sort by matrix or comments, it'll sort alphabetically as best it can on those, especially on matrix, it can definitely sort alphabetically, but you're only going to see a bunch of show buttons. So that really doesn't benefit you. If you're looking for a specific matrix, then put in part of the word. One other thing, we'll go back to some fictitious number and search, apply. You don't have to search for the whole thing. I can search for, it is case sensitive, but I can search for VAU, no L, no T, and there it is. So you don't have to search for the whole word. Not only that, go back to something that don't exist, I can search for EC. And there it is, because there's an E and a C in records. Okay, so you got full control. It's amazing what you can do with the app. Okay, the next thing we're going to look at, and again, that goes for anything. I can search for year, 2000. There's nothing. And 19, I believe that was 99 or 96. I don't even remember. It's not good, Paul. Okay, 1900. Yeah, I got a sense of humor. Okay, so we'll search for 2000. There's nothing. We search for 1900. Oh, sorry, you got to click year. Apply filter. There it is, because we're searching the year only. We're not searching artists. Okay, so you get the idea. It does all of that. What about the hide? Well, the hide is if you got very long artist names, and you will, right? Everybody does in their collection. You got some really long artist names or really long title names. There's some title names that are extremely long. Well, what happens is this table expands to show you that data, and it expands on all of the rows that you're seeing. So if you're seeing 50 rows and one of them has a very long title and another one has a very long artist name, this is going to expand to the right very long, and some of these buttons will go off the screen. You won't be able to see them in your browser. You could shrink the view, but, well, actually you can't shrink the view because it's in an application. But you could expand the window if you got room on your desktop, but that's a nuisance. You may be wanting to see a long artist or a long title and you want to see the comment or update the comment or update the matrix. Maybe you didn't have time to grab the matrix uh, off the wax in the past when you added the record, and now you want to add it. Well, what you can do is hide columns. So say you got the artist and the title of the record you want, but it's off the screen. Matrix is off the screen. Well, you can hide label up here. And you see the label goes away. You can hide year. No, there won't be no records found because we got a search criteria there. Okay, let's go back to the beginning. Okay, so now we don't have any search going on. You can hide year. You can hide the catalog number. You can hide the rating. And if you're looking for a particular matrix, you can hide the comment. Now, what you got in the list, especially if it's a long drop down and you're not exactly sure where the record is or what the title was, you may know the artist and not the title, or you may not want to type the whole title. So you may just type Aerosmith because you know you want Toys in the Attic and you're going to update the matrix, but it's pushing it off the screen. Now, Aerosmith Toys in the Attic would not push it off the screen, but that's an example. So again, you have that kind of control, and then that gets you to where you want. And when you're ready and you do the new matrix, you add it in because the button said add, not show, and you added it in, then you could just go back and unhide the columns. Just uncheck them, and everything comes back the way it was. Okay, so that's that. Now, records to show, what is that? Well, let's say you have whatever, 300 records, 3,000 records, 10,000 records. You can set this to whatever you want. This is just temporary. This is not permanent. It's just temporary. So right now it's set to 50 records. Well, I only have one, but extend. But basically you get the idea. You can change this number. Now let's say I change it to 75 or 100, better yet. Let's say I want to look at 100 records at a time and then click next and next or whatever. Okay, if I set it to 100 and I go next, next, whatever, and then I close the application up here in the top right corner, and then tomorrow I come back in, it's going to go back to 50, and it's only going to show 50. And that's why I said this is temporary. But I don't create limitations. I don't limit myself, and I'm not going to limit you. There's a way to control how many records are shown. And we'll look at that in the next section right now. Okay, so we got these. One other thing before we leave here, because we're going to cover this in the next section too, is this number. What does it mean? Well, box and number, right? It's kind of self-explanatory. Let's say you keep your records in boxes, right? In cases of some kind. So you got box 1, box 2, box 3, and the record may be the 30th record in box 4, you know. So that's what that number is, where it is in the box, what box it's in. Now, I know a lot of people keep records on shelves. Okay, so you may have a whole wall of bookcases with shelves. Then you might have you have the ability, you can number your shelves. Shelf 1, shelf 2, shelf 3, shelf 4, right? And then where each record is on that shelf. Same thing, right? Whether they're in boxes or on shelves, whether they're in cabinets, drawer 1, drawer 2, drawer 3, and where it is in that drawer. So this is set, can be set to anything. As of right now, it's still going to say box and number. That's just because if I let this be editable, where you can change these words, what are you going to put that's smaller than box and number? Shelf or bookcase 3, you know, and then number, spell number out or whatever. You're going to push this further to the right. And the whole idea is to keep it as concise as we can. So just get used to the fact that box is your own storage space. If I get enough feedback that this needs to be editable, we'll make it editable. I don't really care if it's editable. It's just right now for space, horizontal space, it's short letters. Could be BX and NO, right? It would take, given one more character, but BX is not as clear as box. So that's what you got. Okay, so we're going to look at this, how to make this permanent, and how to control this. And that's in the um, settings. So we'll go back to settings. We've already touched on the username and password. This is the default. You notice it says 50. This is the default records per page. You can make this anything you want. You can click the up arrows, the down arrows, or you can just type in 200. And unlocks is off for some reason. 200, you know. Okay, after you set it to 200, you can either hit enter or you can save the configuration with the button. And now that saved it. If we go back, you see, go back to records, you see it's 200. So that's how you permanently save the number of records to show. And you can flip it back and forth in settings anytime you want, or you can, if you're just working one time with your files, you can just change it to whatever you want. I mean, it doesn't matter however you want to do that. But if you set it manually and close the app and come back, it'll go away. It'll go back to 200 or whatever you set it to. Okay, the next thing in here is the boxes. You notice it defaults to 21 albums and 21 45s. If you don't use 45s, if you just collect albums, you can hide 45s. Okay. If you just collect 45s, obviously you can just hide albums. And either way, that gives you the ability to work with your boxes directly without, you know, only having half the screen. You can keep adding rows. Just remember that when you add a row, if you're only looking at one, it adds 7 boxes at a time. But you can add as many as you want. You could just keep on clicking that button if you wanted to. So anyway, and then when you are done, you're all set. The numbers here can be switched accordingly. So, like, say my first shelf supports 45 boxes. I could type in 45 boxes, save configuration. When I come back to view records, the first, this will stay one and count one, two, one, 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 two, one, three, all the way to 145. Then it'll switch to box two and it will continue to 2, 1, 2, 3, all the way to 250 because I only set the first box. But you can set them however you want. Now, the good thing is when you're adding records, you're telling the application that you have 45 single spaces or 45, in this case, you could put 45 single albums. But if you go to, which we're going to do in a minute, if you go to here, we can start here, um, on the far right, which you won't see at this resolution, you'll have to expand the table view so you can see. Let me go ahead and do that. So you have to expand the chart. And then I'm just going to slide this whole window over to the left so you can see what I'm talking about. Over here you have record count. When you click in it, it'll expand and then you can set 2 for a double album, right? Or 1 point, well, it goes up by 1. So if you had like 2 gateways and they were taking up your, it was too tight in the box, then you could just toggle any of these that you want to toggle so that it's not too wide in the box. And you can do that inside of the um, edit records. So you can do it there or you can do it here. Let me get it back to where we were. Gonna grab the edge of the box here. Okay. And we want to set it back to about where we were in the view so you can see what we're doing. All right. So when you expand it full screen, you will automatically see those, uh, see the whole row. But since I'm on a limited video recording window, I can't do it without moving the box. The other option though is you got a vertical bar, so you can scroll back. It'll just stick off here because I'm in a video box, right? This is as wide as my box will handle. So, but to add a record, we're in albums right now. Let me go back to view records. And you see I've got one here that I added a minute ago just to show you um, another row, how it switches to 1, 2. But let's go to 45s and we'll look at that. Okay, so there's only one that I added in here to show you what the 45s looks like. And you notice the table columns change. You still got label, year, cat, rating, matrix, comments, and tags. But now you also have side 2 because it's a 45. So you got side 1 and side 2. Now, if we go to add new records, you'll notice it says add new 45s because this is your dashboard. Whatever you set here is what's going to carry through. So we go to add new records and now I can give it a catalog number. So I'll call it ABC and then I can rate it. We'll rate it badly, VG plus, GD, and VG. Okay, and then the artist, we could put any artist we want in there. Pink Floyd. Notice when I click the box, how they expand. That's so that you have room to deal with just what you're dealing with. Again, it's designed to make it easy for you. So here I can say Dark Side of the Moon. Right? And then on side 2 of this record, it would be some other song. So I'm going to put some other song 2 because this is a 45, remember. Okay. And then the label, let's say it's A&M Records, the year, we'll go with 1976. Country, we'll say it's US. Matrix number, Now again, if I scroll over, you'll see it expands the box. And you would see this on a regular monitor display. You would not need to scroll left or right. So if I put something in here, testing matrix, okay, and EDR 123, some kind of codes, right? When I click comments, you see comments expands. I could say not original cover, or whatever you want to put, right? So that's there. Record count, well, it's just a single record, so it defaults to 1. I can just leave that alone. Again, you'd be able to see this whole box. You can't see it in the video, and I apologize for that. It's just a limitation of this video recorder. It pre-fills with today's date, which again, you can't see it all because it's being chopped off by my video recorder. So we got that. Now you can click add record. If you're adding multiple ones, you can click add a new row, and you can just keep right on going down adding new records. You can add as many as you want. The only thing you got to remember here is it does use what's called session variables. Just like any other online program you use, this one's offline, but it still uses session variables. So if you walk away from it, you got a record in there like we have Dark Side of the Moon, and I go and eat lunch, and then I come back and I hit add record, it's gonna lose all this because the session expired and it's gonna make you log in again. So rather than do that, make sure you click add records. What I would suggest, this is for adding new records, not importing. So I would add like 2, 3, 4, depends how fast you are at adding them, what information you want to record. If you're just doing, the name of the artist and the name of the record and, rating it and the catalog number, just these fields here, then you could probably do 4, 5, 6 before you need to worry about session variables. The other thing you can do is at any time, if you got one and you're not sure, did it take me too long to do these first 2 or these first 3 or whatever, you can just click add records and continue, right? You can just keep going. So you don't really need to like add a bunch all at one time. You can add one, click add records. In fact, that's what I do. If I'm adding new records to my collection, I type in one, I hit add record. I type in the next one, I hit add record. I don't need to worry about it that way. And so that's a convenience, but it's just better to have the session variable in there because if you walk away, um, you come back, you see it. Now, okay, so we just added a 45. So now if we go back to view, okay, apparently I didn't click the button good, but there it is. So it added it. And if I go back and click another one, add another record, call this one HHRT 23 and mint, 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 record 3, title 3, side B, okay, and label, I don't know, we'll just use Epic, year, 76, country, US. You don't have to fill them all in. You can fill in what you want and click add records, come over to view records, and there it is. And so now, if I want to add the matrix, I can add it here. I may not have wanted to deal with a magnifying glass looking at the outwax to get the matrix when I'm adding new records. I may come back later and just click this and add in a new thing, matrix record 3, update, and now it turns to show. And if I click it, matrix records 3 is there. Okay. And so the same with comments, you can add comments, my comment. And then you see it switches to show again. So you can click it and there it is. And then the next thing is the edit. Like I said earlier, you can get to edit from here, right? Or you can get to edit and click the button. You can get to edit from here and you can edit the entire record. So I can change the comment to my comment goes here and hit enter. This button's not a default. I can hit update record and then I come back in here and now if I look at the comment, my comment goes here. You can hit update, it'll stay there, it won't erase it. It'll just re-update it. Okay, so now let's say I want to set the number of records to 2, or to 1, better yet. Apply filters. So now there's 1 record. You could think of this as 10 records, right? But I'm just showing you 1. So 1 record, we got next, 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 and you see the numbers are going up. We can go previous, previous, we can go first, last. Okay, so you can get around your major list. If you got 50 on display, the more you have, you'll have a scroll bar on the right, or you can use your mouse wheel to scroll up and down, and you can go to the one you want. So we looked at hiding fields, we looked at adding records, and we looked at searching. And that's pretty much what you got. Now the next thing is importing. If I've got a test file that I downloaded. Let me go ahead and grab it. I'll move it. Sorry of you. Sorry about that. Let me get it. All right. I'm going to drag it and set it right here. All right. Now let me minimize this window. Okay. So hold on. Let me just pull it over. You see the name of the file here? That's what I downloaded as from my test from Discogs. So this is Discogs export. This is the way it looks when they export it. That's my username. I exported my collection into a comma separated text file, comma separated version. So now, and here it is. I'll move it here just so you can see it for a second. Oh, it didn't open. Let me open it. I don't have an application associated with it on this test PC. Just take my word for it, it's there, okay? And it's on my desktop. So I'm going to go ahead. Actually, let me pull this over. Now you can see it, okay? If I undo auto hide, view, auto arrange. Okay, here you can see it right here, okay? And no, that ain't it. It's this one. Windows put it in a strange place. But there it is. That's the same name, right? We just looked at it. If I go on here to the app and go to import, I can import. Now that's an album export. So I can import it and then choose the file. And I'm going to go right to my desktop. And I'm going to choose that same file, which is right here. Okay. Then I click Start Import. And it successfully imported my albums. It's a test file. It's got 5. But this came from Discogs. So if I go back to view records, there they are. So you can see the records here. And I'll expand that back to where we were. Yeah. And about there. Okay. So here they are. They're all here. And again, if I set this records to show to say 2, apply filter, there's the first 2, second 2, third 2, you get the idea. And the last row is the last one. First, last, okay, previous, and these are just default records right from Discogs. So I went ahead and pulled them in, and you'll notice if I go back to show all, I'll just set this to 20, apply filter, there they are. If I scroll over so you can see this, you'll notice that Discogs provided me with the years, the catalog numbers, and I pre-filled the ratings so that they would pre-fill. But this is the actual file, and it shows the buttons are on add because they're not they're not there, right? You don't get these from Discogs, so you got to enter them. That's how Discogs import works. The other feature is export. So now that I have all those in there, I can export my albums. And I can export them in numerous different ways. Phone shopping list. Let's say that I'm going to be out looking for new records, and I'm going to maybe some thrift stores that have a metal building, and I can't get my phone to work. What I can do is just export my entire collection to a text file that only has artist, title, and my rating that I assigned to those records. That way I can move that text file to my phone. And if I'm in a building with no internet, I can, if I see a record, now say this is, 500 records here or 1,000 records. If I see a record that I know I have, but I don't know the condition of it, I can open up this file on my phone and then scroll down, find out what I rated it at. So let's say I got a record of Boston debut album, and I find one that looks like near mint. I mean, it just looks excellent, or it's at least excellent or excellent plus. I can open my phone, open this file from my download, and I can look and, oh, look at the one I got is VG plus or VG. Well, now I know, okay, I want to buy this one, add it to my collection, and possibly sell the other one, or, keep two copies, whatever, depending on the matrix numbers. But this is for your phone. It's a great shopping list that you can have on your phone. So I'm going to download this one. Okay, and here's where it's going to put it. Now that's an old one. Let me delete it. I'm going to save it there. So it's putting it right on my desktop. It still thinks it's there. I'm just going to hit yes. Okay, here it is. So now if I open it, there you go. There's the records that are currently in my album section. There's the two that were there, and then there's the 5 that I imported from Discogs. And they're all here in a text file that I can copy to my phone. And with any text app from Apple Store or Google Plus, Google Play, I can open this, or even just a default Android app if you got one. I can just open this file. So if I was looking, I seen a Purple Rain, but I didn't know what condition mine was. Well, now I see it. And it may be, here, that's a good example. Prince and the Revolution, Purple Rain. I had rated my copy as min, no, which means in this case, I had rated it no, but it could be rated anything. NO being I don't have the cover. I got the record, I have the insert, but I don't have the cover. So in this case, I know I need to buy this one if no for no other reason than to get the cover because there's none. Okay, so these are things you can do. Now this is an old record rating that I used, but you notice it pulled it right in. So that works. It pulled it right in from Discogs, and I can switch them to my Discogs rating system accordingly. And so that's how you could use this. Now, if I wanted to export a full comma separated version, a spreadsheet, to maybe to put in Excel or some other reason, I just want a CSV, or maybe I'm going to upload it to some other online system, maybe Discogs, maybe somewhere else, and I want to upload it to them. Well, I can create a full data backup of all of the fields that are in my database, and then they're all in that one file. I can upload them to any different record catalog company and map them to their particular database. Or if I know that they don't support certain fields, I can choose custom. And so if I choose custom, then I can decide what I want to export from the matrix vault. I can say I want to export the catalog number, the artist, I want the label, right? I can pick whatever I want. I can export the year, but I don't want the rating for some reason. Now I can create that export. Click this, it'll download it. And here's where it's going to save it as album CSV. So I click save and it put it there. Now, unfortunately, the only way I can open it is with Notepad. So I'll right click it and I'll choose edit with Notepad because that's the only way I can open it. But there you go. Oh, it disappeared. Let me get Notepad back. Okay. I don't like the fact that Windows 11 keeps all these other things open. That just, okay. So here it is. And you notice that what I exported was artist, catalog, label, title, year. And so each one, this is my default crazy entry just to tell you how to use the app. And then these are, this was the second one that I added. And then these are the ones that I imported from Discogs. Now here you go. I imported these from Discogs and I just exported them that I can put them in another online service if I so choose, or Excel spreadsheet or wherever I want to export them to. Okay. What if I already have all my files in the next CSV file? Well, then I can use the importer and import them there. It'll still import them and map them accordingly. But okay, so these are the things we chose: artist, catalog, label, title, year. I move this down. Artist, catalog, label, title, year. You can pick whatever you want to be in that export file. Again, this is so versatile. It's designed to make your life as easy as possible. You have complete control of your data. You can do what you want with your data. Nobody owns it. Nobody can shut it down. It's locally on your machine and you have it all. So that's how the import and export feature work. Okay, so then under support, we have some issues here, and I think we already looked at these. Check for update, right? You can check for update. You see I'm up to date. Contact support, you can contact me there. And a little bit of information about the matrix vault, and you can log out. Now, if you chose a different username and password when you log out, this would be blank. And so nobody can log in that doesn't know your username and password. But in this case, we're using the default, so it stays there. So I can just click log in and go right back in. Anyway, this is the review of the Matrix Vault. I hope you found it interesting. I hope you can see the value in this, and there'll be new features coming, and like them. You can download them and install them, and you will always have complete updates, but you don't need it if this may be exactly all you need, right? It does so much. So then you don't even need to worry about updates. That's up to you. And after a year, if you did want updates, there'll only be a small charge for the update. But you got a lifetime license. This app will run for the rest of your life. It'll run as long as you're using Windows 10, Windows 11, and who knows what Microsoft will put out later. But right now it runs on those two environments and will continue to do so. Anyway, thank you for watching and happy spinning.